They say travel opens the mind, but sometimes it also wounds the ego. You walk into a cafe, and no one smiles. You ask a question, and the answer is cold. You say, "Thank you," and they barely nod. And you think to yourself, why are people here so rude? Welcome back to Continental Explorer, where we look beyond borders to understand the world. Today, we're unpacking one of travel's most misunderstood ideas, rude countries. Lists on the internet love to name and shame: France, Russia, China, even the US. But what if rude isn't about manners at all? What if it's about how cultures define respect, truth, and self-protection? Because behind every rude encounter, there's a reason few ever stop to see. Each country will be treated as a cinematic chapter, moving across the globe like a journey through perception. Number 1. France, the pride of precision. In France, conversation is an art, and every art has its rules. A traveler orders coffee in English and gets an eye roll. A waiter corrects your grammar mid-sentence. To outsiders, it feels dismissive. But for the French, language is sacred. It's a mark of national pride and intelligence. They value eloquence, not flattery. In their culture, politeness means being clear, not charming. A Parisian once told me, "We don't fake smiles because sincerity is the highest form of respect." So the so-called rude French, they're not cold, they're proud. Number 2. Germany, efficiency over emotion. In Berlin, there's no room for sugarcoating. If your idea is bad, they'll tell you. If you're late, they'll notice. To Germans, clarity is kindness. Their communication isn't about warmth, it's about truth. A traveler might mistake this directness for arrogance, but in Germany, honesty is moral. They believe in systems, punctuality, and precision, and anything less feels disrespectful. Rude? No. Just efficient, and deeply serious about doing things right. Number 3. Russia, the guarded soul. In Moscow, no one smiles at strangers. Cashiers rarely say, "Have a nice day." And to Westerners, that feels intimidating. But Russia's history has shaped its silence. Centuries of struggle, war, and survival taught people to trust actions over words. Smiling for no reason was once seen as naive, even dangerous. A Russian proverb says, "Laughing for no reason is a sign of foolishness." So when Russians don't smile, it's not hostility. It's simply emotional honesty in a world that's taught them to be cautious. Number 4. Japan, the politeness of distance. In Japan, politeness is an art form, but to outsiders, it can feel robotic. You bow, you exchange gifts, you apologize for everything. But politeness here is not warmth, it's harmony. Japanese culture values group balance over personal expression. So emotion is hidden behind restraint, to avoid burdening others. Foreigners sometimes call it cold. But to the Japanese, it's respect in its purest form. The act of not imposing yourself on the world. Number 5. United States, the smile economy. In America, smiles are everywhere. Strangers wave. Waiters joke. Even cashiers ask, "How's your day?" But for visitors, this hyper-friendliness can feel fake, a performance. Because in the US, friendliness is part of the social code, a currency. It smooths transactions, earns tips, builds opportunity. Yet behind those smiles, many Americans feel isolated or burnt out. Because politeness is easy, honesty is harder. So when the mask slips, people call it rudeness. But maybe it's just fatigue, from living in a world that never stops smiling. Number 6. Italy. The passion of connection. Italians speak with their hands, their faces, their hearts. They interrupt, argue, and laugh all in one breath. To some, it's overwhelming, even aggressive. But to Italians, passion is communication. They express love and anger with the same fire. An Italian grandmother once said, "If I don't shout, I don't care." So no, they're not rude. They're just alive in a louder language. Number 7. China. The pragmatics of politeness. In China, politeness isn't about words, it's about behavior. Westerners expect smiles and pleasantries. But in China, what matters is mutual benefit and trust built over time. If a stranger seems blunt or impatient, it's not personal, it's situational. The Chinese concept of mianzi, or saving face, governs interaction. People protect harmony through results, not empty courtesies. So while a shopkeeper may sound abrupt, their goal isn't to offend, it's to move forward efficiently. Number 8. Israel. The culture of candor. In Tel Aviv or Jerusalem, conversations are loud, arguments quick. People talk over each other, not to dominate, but to engage. Israelis call it dugri, straight talk. They value honesty over harmony, believing that truth creates trust. A local once told me, "We don't waste time pretending to agree. We argue because we care." To a foreigner, it's brash. To them, it's love. Number 9. United Kingdom. The mask of manners. In Britain, politeness is religion. People say sorry when you bump into them, and cheers for everything. But beneath that civility lies a quiet frustration. Because British politeness often hides emotion rather than expresses it. They use understatement as armor. A Brit will say, "not bad," when they mean fantastic. Or quite nice, when they mean awful. To foreigners, this indirectness can feel fake. But to the British, it's elegance, the art of not burdening others with too much truth. Number 10. India. The chaos of hospitality. India overwhelms the senses, colors, noise, life everywhere. And in the chaos, politeness becomes fluid. A shopkeeper might ignore you. A taxi driver might argue. But then, a stranger offers you tea, and suddenly, you're family. Indian communication swings between formality and intimacy. Because survival and connection coexist here. It's not rudeness. It's rhythm. A living, breathing conversation between millions of lives in motion. Have you ever noticed how we define rude based on what feels comfortable to us? We travel expecting the world to behave like home, but travel isn't meant to comfort us. It's meant to challenge us. When I first set foot in these countries, I was quick to judge. Now, I see that every culture guards its heart differently. Some protect it with silence. Others with sarcasm. Some with smiles. Maybe we don't travel to be treated well. Maybe we travel to understand why others treat us differently. Behind every cultural misunderstanding is one universal truth. We all want respect. We just define it differently. In some places, respect means eye contact. In others, it means looking away. In some, it's saying what you feel. In others, it's saying nothing at all. The rudest countries aren't rude, they're real. They refuse to edit themselves for your comfort. And maybe that's the purest form of authenticity left in a globalized world. Because travel isn't about finding kindness, it's about finding truth. So next time you travel, and someone snaps, ignores, or dismisses you, pause before judging. Ask yourself, are they being rude? Or are they just being human, shaped by a history, a struggle, or a way of seeing that you don't yet understand? Because when we learn to see the world through others' manners, we stop expecting comfort and start finding connection. Because sometimes, what we call rudeness is just another language of truth. If you've ever traveled somewhere that changed how you see people, share your story below. Which country surprised you the most? Until next time. Keep exploring, not just the world, but the reasons behind it. Subscribe, and let's uncover the untold side of travel. Here, on Continental Explorer.